Welcome to Biochemical Kinesiology class number 1. I'm John McGuire and I'm thrilled that you're joining me for this program, and I guarantee that you're going to have profound results both for the people you're working with using these skills as for yourself in your own life, as I surely have. Now I'm going to share with you what we're going to do in this class. First, we're going to cover the organizing principles of kinesiology, plus the principles of muscle testing. Then we're going to learn things to do to maintain biochemical balance, as well as food testing, and then I'm going to give you an overview of the course. Our quote for this week is from Hippocrates, who says, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." Now let's cover principles of biochemical kinesiology. First, I want you to know we do not diagnose or treat medical conditions in kinesiology, and this is not to replace medical testing and treatment. What we do is balance the body's energies to support it and create optimum health and balance. See, everything is energy and is vibrating at a specific frequency. All food has a vibrational frequency that either raises or lowers our energy, and it can be muscle tested. There's many aspects of our being: our biochemical, our physical, our emotional, and spiritual. And these each affect each other, and therefore our biochemistry is affected by our emotional state and our physical body. It was Dr. George Goodhart, the founder of applied kinesiology, who I studied with. He discovered that each muscle, meridian, and organ has specific nutritional needs. When muscles test weak, they can be strengthened with the proper nutrition placed in the person's energy field, and the frequency of that nutrition tunes the muscle for peak performance. Because of the muscle-organ meridian relationship, these nutrients can also help organ function and meridian energy flow. Also, there are test points on the body to determine imbalances such as vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and neurotransmitters. Now let's discuss things to do to maintain biochemical balance. Eat fresh, organic foods, which are the most energizing to the body, and avoid processed devitalized foods, which are energy depleting. Stay adequately hydrated, drinking about a ½ ounce per pound of body weight throughout the day, sipping water about every 20 minutes. Eat 70 to 80% alkalizing and 20 to 30% acidifying foods. Eat adequate amounts of fiber to keep the colon clean, and consume adequate amounts of essential fatty acids. Things to avoid are CATs. That's caffeine, alcohol, tobacco, and sugar. And what you do want to consume are ACEs, vitamins A, C, E, and selenium. The key to physical and psychological health, peak performance, high immunity, and living a long life is in with the good, pure water and energy-rich foods, and out with the bad, which is autotoxicity and proper elimination. You want to remove your exposure to environmental toxins, molds, and inhalants. And also, the balance of the primary neurotransmitters is key to health. Also, balance of the body's hormones and detox of heavy metals and other toxins in the body. Also, clearing candida overgrowths, clearing parasites, and you want to keep the lymphatic system working well. The lymphatic system is the body's sewer system and is a vacuum cleaner for your entire body. There is not a symptom or a disease that does not involve the lymphatic system. When the lymphatic system slows down, the cell is suspended in a toxic acidic moat, and oxygen and glucose cannot get to the cell. Now let's talk about hydration. For good performance, clarity of thinking, and proper mind-body functioning, the body depends greatly on water. Without adequate amounts of pure water, the body's electrical system is impaired and the lymphatic system and organs suffer. The percentage of water content for these organs is 90% of the lungs, 80% of the heart, muscles are 76% water, the skin 72%, and the brain is 75% water and uses 30% of our water intake. So whenever you have stress, it's particularly helpful to drink water. A guide to determine the correct amount of water intake for an individual is to calculate the body weight in pounds and then multiply it by 1/3 to 1/2 ounce of water per day. More water should be consumed in hotter climates and where extra physical or mental demands are made on the body. So if you're under a lot of stress, drink more water. Now you also want to check to see if there's any medical contraindications to significantly increasing people's water. So if they're under a doctor's care, they would check with them. Now I'm going to show you the hydration test. It's so vitally important to do this first off in a session because if someone's not adequately hydrated, you'll probably find out a lot of things are weak. In other words, energy is blocked in their body and they're not conducting electricity through it, where the main challenge is that they're not adequately hydrated. So we start with an indicator muscle here. As I push, you hold. Good. So I would like you now to tug on your hair so it stretches your skin, Emily, and hold as I push. And you see how it goes weak? Now it doesn't matter who pulls, so I'll just demonstrate here. If I tug on the hair and she goes weak. Now it's a different test if I just touch the hair or she touches it. In fact, I can just twist it here and not tug. See, it's strong. You have to pull because it's stretching the skin. That is what you're doing. In fact, some people, they might be shaved bald, they can still pull on the eyebrows, but you can even just pull on your chin and just tug it out a little bit like that. And it gets the same response. So it's the fact that you're tugging the skin, and when you're dehydrated, what happens is your skin is not as elastic. So it's the body saying we are stressed when our skin is stretched. So now let's have her drink a glass of water and then we'll retest. Okay, Emily, let's have you get about 4 ounces in if you can. And I like to have a purified water close at hand, or often the client will bring water if it's in a session. And also yourself, you want to be adequately hydrated when you're testing people because that way you have better energy as well. So let's see what happens now. You can put that down and we'll give you another test. So tug on the hair again and let's see what happens. Hold as I push. Fantastic. So there you go. So let's ask you, how much water you generally drink in a day?
I try and drink 60 ounces a day.
Oh, okay.
Try to.
And so today maybe that hasn't happened so well?
No, today I'm definitely right now I'm at 30, so I'm definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not
and
there
especially
yet.
we're in summer here in Los Angeles, and you need more water when it's hotter or in drier climates. So let's ask your body. I'm going to make a statement. More than 30 ounces of water a day is optimum for your health. More than 40. More than 50. Okay, around 50. Okay, more than 50 is okay? No, actually 50 is what your body's saying is ideal. So it's, generally here's the guide. You want to drink about a third to a half of ounce of water per pound of body weight.
Yeah.
So would that be close to then, yeah, you're in that range when you're at 50 ounces. Yeah. And again, if it's a hotter day or if you're out working out or, building a sweat up and you're obviously using more water, then you're going to need to go higher. But that's a good guide for you.
Yeah.
Great. So your assignment this week will be to have someone check you, which I'm going to have her check me now. Let's see what I do. Push. Uh-oh, now I need to get some. And then check other people around you and see what happens after they drink some water and if they go strong. Also, I want you to ask the body. So you ask my body. So I'll make the statements. Okay. More than 40 ounces, more than 60 ounces a day, more than 70 ounces. Okay, so 70 ounces. Okay, so that would also be right in the range between a half to a third of ounce of water for me per pound of body weight. So let's see. Now you can calculate that. So if you were doing 8 ounces of water and then you wanted 50, right? So you're basically 6.5 glasses of water a day if you were doing 8-ounce glasses. Mm-hmm. Now what I like to do is first thing in the morning when I get up, I go down and get a glass of water, generally about 10 to 12 ounces, and what I'll do is I'll squeeze some lemon in it and some cayenne pepper, which is great for your circulation and your heart. So, and then I'll sometimes heat it up, especially in the winter, and then have it as a nice beverage to start the day. It also switches the brain on, which we talked about earlier, the value of water for the brain. So you now have some good information to remember. Keep up with that water, and you'll think clearer, and you will also have more energy, as well as greater health. Okay?
Thanks.
You're welcome. Now let's cover the principles of muscle testing. Manual muscle testing can be used to assess the innate intelligence within the body and can be used to assess the energy flow within the meridians and the organs to determine where there are energy blockages and where there is stress in the physical body and organ systems. Now we can use the nutritional finger mode, which is the thumb touching the middle finger, and that then can assess when the body wants nutritional corrections to bring it into optimal health and function. We'll be using this throughout the course. Every muscle is associated with specific nutrients, and if the body is deficient in those nutrients, it can cause a muscle to test weak. We can use the priority mode to determine which muscles are priorities to balance, as well as which nutrition is a priority. When a muscle changes from weak to strong, or from strong to weak, when holding the priority mode, it indicates that it is a priority. Each week, we're going to cover a specific meridian and the nutrients that are related to that. So for an overview, and we'll get into more of this later, the central meridian is related to the nutrient RNA, ribonucleic acid, which helps the communication system within the body. The governing meridian is related to whole protein. The stomach meridian is related to B vitamins as well as hydrochloric acid. The spleen meridian is related to both vitamins A, F, and hydrochloric acid, as well as vitamin C, related to the spleen organ. In the water meridian, we have kidney related to vitamin A, E, and water, and then we have the bladder meridian related to vitamins A and C. In the lung meridian, we have vitamin C and water. Then in the large intestine meridian, we have the B vitamins, acidophilus, and iron. In the liver meridian, we have vitamins A, F, and methionine. And in the gallbladder meridian, we have vitamin A. The heart meridian is related to B, E, as well as G, which is riboflavin, part of the B complex, B2 as a matter of fact, and calcium. Then we have the small intestine meridian that's related to vitamins B, E, and D. Spells the word bed. Then also in the fire element, you have the circulation sex meridian related to vitamin E, which is the middle letter in the word sex. And then triple warmer meridian relates to iodine, which is related to thyroid, as well as vitamin C related to the adrenals. Just know that each week we're going to go in depth into each of the vitamins and minerals related to every organ and muscle that it's connected to. And then we're going to tell the deficiency symptoms, foods that are rich in it, and we're going to show muscle testing to balance it. So this is just an overview for you right now. You don't have to remember all this, but know you're going to learn all of this, and by the end of the course, you're going to have it all memorized so you can use it in practical situations where you're working with your clients. What might normally be thought of to be a good food may not be good for an individual person right now. A food that turns a person's muscle off today may test fine after they're brought further into balance, or they do procedures to detoxify their body, or eat the food less frequently. Now, bioacidic foods are foods that deplete the body's energy and performance. You're going to find a strong indicator muscle, such as an anterior deltoid, and place 2 fingers on the side of the top bone of the neck, known as gallbladder 20 in the meridian system. And either side can be touched by either the person testing or the person being tested. Now, touching this is asking the body's energy systems, would any of the meridians and organ systems be affected negatively by this food? Then you're going to put the food in the person's circuit by having them do any of the following. And these are in the order of accuracy. Most accurate is taste the food, then test. Next would be smell the food. Now, when testing vials in a test kit, you can have the person touch several at a time and then touch one at a time until they individually test weak, and we'll demonstrate this. Or you can also hold the food on the midline of the body, or you can look at the food and then even just think about the food. Many different factors can affect the results of testing a specific food. One is whether it's organic or commercial, such as a vegetable or fruit. How about grass-fed versus grain-fed? Another is how the food is prepared. Eggs that are generally soft-boiled or poached are better than fried or scrambled. How the food is combined with other foods, such as fruits, don't mix well with proteins. Also, the amount of the food, like you might test well on 4 ounces of coffee, but not 8, or 4 ounces of wine and not 2 glasses. To determine amounts or frequencies, you can muscle test, asking their body with yes being strong or no being weak response to a food. For example, I'll test 4 ounces of red wine with a meal and see how that tests. Maybe that's strong, but I try 8 ounces with a meal and it goes weak. Or 1 8-ounce cup of coffee a day, strong, maybe 2 goes weak. You don't know. 4 ounces of beef, 6 ounces of beef. Maybe oatmeal once a week, tests fine. Twice a week, maybe good. 3 times a week, maybe not. Now I'm going to show you several ways you can test foods. You don't have to do all of these, but I'm showing you options. So before we test foods, I want to establish she has a strong indicator muscle. Hold as I push. Okay, and then I want to do something to switch it off, which I can pinch in the belly of the muscle, hold again, and it switches off. You only have to do that one time, the muscle springs back to full power. So I want to make sure the muscle's not locked, because I've had times where I would test somebody and, boy, you're strong on everything, and their muscle was hypertonic. It wouldn't switch off on anything. So we've got established clear indicator muscle. Now I'm also going to be checking a point back here, which happens to be gallbladder 20. It's the same as the neurolymphatic for the brain, and when I touch here, I want to see if that's strong, and it is. If it wouldn't have been strong, I would have had you rub that for about 20 seconds. There's other things we learn to do in structural to correct that, but usually that'll fix it. And that's a general checkpoint that I'll be explaining in a moment. Okay, so let's now try the Skippy. So I want you just to hold the Skippy. Okay. Just hold it right there, and then hold as I push. It's a little fuzzy. Now I'm going to touch the point here and hold again. Wow, dramatic. Now, let me explain. When you test an arm like this, it's just a general indicator muscle. It's basically asking, well, how's the lung meridian doing? Because this is kind of out to the side. If I did it right in front like this, it would be gallbladder. If I tested another muscle like this, hold as I push down and out, this is the stomach meridian muscle, pectoralis major clavicular, which you'll be learning in the class. Now, let's have you just hold this again, and let me check the pectoralis major clavicular. It's her stomach says, oh, no way.
Oh, no.
But her lung says, that's kind of the lung meridian muscle related to that. And it says, yeah, it doesn't bother the lung, but the stomach, oh. And there's other muscles like the latissimus dorsi. That would be a reaction to the pancreas. Hold as I pull out. Whoa. Now, ideally then, for every food, we'd have to check all the muscles for each meridian. But when I touch here, it says, is there any meridian that objects to this food? So that's why this is generally better. Now, there's another peanut butter we got here, because it maybe it's just Skippy. Maybe she needs to skip Skippy. Okay, now let's have you hold this one, and I'll try this hold as I push. Wow, now this is an organic, creamy almond butter. Oh, it's not peanut butter, it's almond butter. But you seem to test strong on that. Take a sniff of it. Does it smell like it would be okay to eat?
Yeah.
Okay, so smelling it even gets a better reaction, and then the best is to taste it. But I'm pretty convinced that she's okay on this, but your body's saying it wants to skip the Skippy.
Okay.
Which is why they call it Skippy. Okay, now let's try another food. Do you ever eat eggs?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an egg. Let's have you just hold the egg, just like that is fine. And I'll see how she does here. Okay, that's good. Now, let's ask ways of eating the egg. Do you ever eat scrambled eggs? Okay, think of a scrambled egg. Ooh. Think of poached eggs. Have you ever had poached eggs?
Not often.
But think about it, a poached egg. Okay, how about sunny side up? Hold again. Oh, once over easy. Yeah. Soft boiled, hard boiled. Interesting. So soft boiled, hold, poached. So your body's saying in a certain form, this is, let's say, enhancing to your body's energy, but in another way it's prepared, it's saying that maybe because of the high heat, doesn't allow it to be digested properly. So that's another thing you can do is check the kind of way to have the food. Let's see, now we have, how about there's, Mountain High yogurt here?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have you.
Yogurt.
Plain yogurt. Okay, so let's see how you do on this. You can even get well, you can't help but smell it. It's got a nice aroma to it. Hold as I push. Okay, now that's doing all right. So let's check you on sugar now. Here's sugar. Now again, without touching the neck, just put it even right against your midline. Now the thymus is a very energetic, sensitive area. And the reason that holding the food can work is because everything, as we've talked about, has a vibrational field. This inside her vibrational field, her body's vibrational field will pick it up. And let's see how she tests. Hold as I push. Nah, it's a little bit going there. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
But what happens when we touch here? Hold. Oh, it really magnifies it. I always recommend you touch the gallbladder 20, and that's that spot. Touch your cranium, everyone, and then drop your hand down until you're on the top of your neck, right under the skull, over on that little hollow spot where your finger just sits in. I use 2 fingers in there. So that's basically saying, not so good. Well, we have other types of sugar. Let's check. This is a raw sugar. So that last one was refined. Let's just see how you test on the raw sugar. Hold as I push. Wow, actually not so bad. Here is some artificial sweeteners. Here's Splenda. Let's see how she does on Splenda. Hold. Not so splendid. How about, let's see, this one is NutraSweet, also known as aspartame. See how she does on that one. Whoa, even weaker. And that's a lot of, like in Diet Coke, I don't know if they still use that, but a lot of diet products have NutraSweet. This one is saccharin. So let's see how she does on the saccharin. Not so good. So you did okay on the raw sugar. Let's do raw honey. In fact, just to get it even more into your system, you can take a sniff of that as you hold it. Okay, and then breathing out as you hold. Oh, so that was good too. This is organic raw honey. Now, you can always test individuals, and we just know that one she does well on, and another brand, you know, you can always test. This is a stevia. So again, hold that, and let's see how she does on stevia. Oh, and that one's also strong. So these are alternatives to help people find a sugar that they can do okay on. Now remember, the amounts are often a factor. So let's see, let's go back to the raw. So let's just ask your body. First I'll say, give me a yes, give me a no to establish. I'm just making a statement. 1 packet of this, what would you use it in? Do you have a beverage that you would, like coffee or tea or?
Yeah, tea. I would use
Okay,
tea.
so 1 full pack of this in tea. Okay, 2 full packets. Okay, 1 packet. So 1 packet does okay, but if you go over the top, you know, then it's too much. So you can check amounts. You can check how it's prepared, like we did with the egg. Let's check. Here's some cheese. This is string cheese.
Yep.
So let's have you hold that in your field. Okay, and as I push, not doing so well. Okay, now again, you can smell the food if it's open in a container, but the vibrational field of this goes into her body. Let me check this without us touching the neck and see what happens. Okay, that's strong. Now you can touch your neck. You can do it on the right side, right where I was touching there, and see what happens, right? Okay, now watch this. I'm going to put it out here, and I'm going to keep pushing, 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 and we're going to see at what point it goes weak. Okay? It's about this far, because that's how far your energy field goes out. And your energy field is a sensing mechanism that you're sensing what's in its energy field. It's like a radar saying, oh, we've got enemy cheese coming into the territory, enemy cheese. It's stressing us. So it literally stresses, do not wear a necklace with string cheese on it. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. She has some cookies here. I'm going to show you a little trick here. Let's see how the cookie tests, first of all. So you get it in your field there. And let's see. Body's saying, not so good. Now, there's times like when I go to the DoubleTree Hotel. Do you ever go to the DoubleTree and they give you those warm chocolate walnut cookies? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're so good. Well, you take your hand and you go, while it's in your field, preferably outside the wrapper, and you go counterclockwise over anything that's sweet, including the cookie in this case. And while you're doing it, whatever you have in your hand, it deactivates the energy field that's stressful and causing a reaction in your body. So you do that now. Put it in your hand and just go around counterclockwise. So we'll see now, and it's you yourself do it. I don't think you could work at a bakery and spin down all the donuts and then say, oh, they're biogenic. That might be something I could go to Randy's Donuts. You ever see that? Randy's Donuts is the one where it's this big, huge donut and it says Randy's Donuts. Last time I had a donut, I went there and got one. It's like, oh my God, they're really good, but they're really bad for you. I had to spin it down majorly. Okay, so let's test now. Hold that against your body and see if it tests different. Wow, look at that.
Weird.
It's weird, yeah, but I found that this really helps. If I go to the DoubleTree and spin the cookie down, I don't get the low blood sugar reaction otherwise. And so that's a trick for any sugar. In fact, let's try this sugar again. So you spin that one down. Okay? Yeah, it should be enough. Okay? See if that made a difference. Look at that.
Easy.
So now it doesn't turn it into health food, but it's just saying if you are going to have some sugar, anytime I have a sweet, I do that before I consume it. Though I really recommend cutting way back, if not eliminating sugar from your diet. Okay, let's test another thing here. I'm going to bring out some vials from my test kit and see how she does on those. Now here's our nutritional test kit that I had custom made, and we're going to be demonstrating other test kits throughout the course. But there's a company called LifeWork Potentials from England that has these kits, and they are the vibrational frequency of each of these various foods, and we also have ones with toxins, with neurotransmitters, with hormones, with amino acids, lots of fun stuff you can do with this. So what I'm going to have you do is put 2 fingers on that right there, and then I'll just test without even you don't even need the point up here because these are highly sensitive, and see what happens. Okay, now do one at a time. Okay, there's that one. She goes weak, and then the next one. Strong, okay? Now what she was weak on happened to be cow's milk. You were strong on goat's milk, interestingly. Now, so that's the vial. And it's really uncanny when I have people we test all of these and they'll pull it out and they go, oh yeah, I know I'm sensitive to that, or we don't even need to know what it is. So let's check her on actual cow's milk now and see how she does. So let's see what happens now with this. And again, it's easier if you smell it, so that gets it even more into your system. Hold as I push. Dramatically weak, okay? Now we have an alternative milk we're going to check. It happens to be almond milk that's unsweetened, and see how she does on that. Okay, so let's have you sniff that. And okay, hold as I push. Wow, really strong. Now, would you be willing to take maybe a week and substitute almond milk for, say, your cow's milk?
Yeah.
And see how you feel? Okay, good. And that's part of the agreement, is you have to get people, if they say, I'm not giving up my product, well then we might have to spin the milk down or whatever. There's other things I'm going to show later in the course where you can use lasers to deactivate food that is bioacidic, in other words, interrupting or blocking your energy flow. So this is an alternative for you. And we found there's certain types of sugar that you do well on. I like the stevia. I'll put, if I have any, rarely do I have caffeinated tea, but it's a little bitter, and I'll put a drop or two of the stevia in. So that's an alternative to your sugars. But you even tested well on the raw sugar.
Yeah.
So you can do that. And then we have raw honey. So when you start following your body's wisdom and only consuming foods that you test strong on, and eliminate, for the most part, the foods you test weak on, you'll see dramatic changes in your energy, in your health. Symptoms will relieve. I've had so many problems, in fact, when I was young, as I mentioned earlier, with my own health, and all of them cleared up when I started eating foods that were rich in life force and eliminated the junk food, the artificial, and the processed foods. So this really helps working with clients because they can tangibly see, as you could, wow, you went really dramatically weak on some of those foods. I had one kid who was like 5 years old, and I had him bring in foods, and we tested him, and he started seeing like, whoa, my Captain Crunch cereal really makes me weak. So we found a cereal that he was strong on. He says, I'm going to be the strongest kid in school now. So he was really impressed with that. So you can have fun with this, and that's part of your assignment this week, is to start testing foods in your cabinet, in your refrigerator. And if you go over to a client's house, which I did this last weekend, I went to a client's house and she was having a lot of low energy. So I said, well, let's go right into your pantry, and pulled stuff out of the refrigerator and found a lot of the foods that she was eating that she, again, tested weak on. So she knew, oh, okay, I can eliminate that. And we found things that were alternatives that she said, yeah, I can enjoy that, and then tested strong on. So she's now got a new plan. And I talked to her a week later after we had that session, and she says, yeah, I'm feeling better than I have in years, just from following that little bit of guidance that we found. I want to give you an example of a woman named Marty, who I started working with when she was 93. Her daughter actually was a student of mine, and she said, I want you to come and work with my mom because she's getting really feeble and sick, and I don't know if she's going to be around much longer. So I went to Marty's house and started doing balancing with her, and we discovered that nutrition was a key factor. So I tested Marty on the foods that she was eating, and many of them were okay, but she just needed to eat them less often. Because I'd say, what do you have for breakfast? She says, well, I always eat this. I think it was oatmeal or something. So when I tested her, it was oatmeal every 4 days, and eating certain grains and other maybe fish or meats that she would eat every day. We ended up finding every third or fourth day would be good. And then we also found certain foods that she just did better not having at all, and other foods she needed to add to her diet. Well, to make a long story short, she, in about 3 months, was so much better, she sent her friends a letter to apologize for not being in communication the last 2 years, and said, I'm now well. In fact, you can call me Iron Woman. Well, I hadn't seen her for many years because I was spending much time in Hawaii, and now I'm back in Southern California. So I checked in with her daughter and said, hey, is your mom still around? And she sent me a picture of Marty with her 101st birthday cake. So Marty's still doing well, and it seems like the nutrition really made the difference. Here are some basic principles you want to follow. One is to drink adequate amounts of pure water. Another is to eat about 70 to 80% alkalizing foods. Also eat a lot of raw foods, particularly vegetables rich in color. Avoid overcooking. Steam your vegetables. Also use cold-pressed oils and avoid those cooked at high temperatures. Avoid devitalized foods, such as ones that are processed with colon-clogging white flour and white sugar. Avoid synthetic foods such as margarine, and avoid meat from animals fed hormones to speed their growth, like chicken, turkey, or beef. Go with the organic varieties. Also avoid farm-raised fish. And limit or eliminate your intake of pasteurized dairy products, and note that raw milk actually can be good for you. Also avoid additives like added sugar and salt. Now we're going to cover what you're going to learn in this course. You will learn the muscle-organ-meridian relationship so that you're going to know how to test each of the muscles related to every organ and gland and know what nutrition and other reflexes will balance it. Each week, you're going to have another vitamin or mineral that we're going to go in depth to. So you're going to know the deficiency signs and how to determine if there is a deficiency in that nutrient in the body. We'll also cover each week the best food sources for that nutrition. And in every class, you're also going to cover an amino acid and what it's good for, its deficiency signs, and how to determine if there's a deficiency of that specific amino acid in the body. We'll also cover the best food sources for that. Each lesson, you're going to learn about one herb so that you'll know what the herb is good for and how to test if the body needs that. You're also going to learn about the primary neurotransmitters. These are the ones that are primarily in the brain and in the gut, and how to determine and correct imbalances through natural methods that will promote both physical and emotional health. It's one of the most valuable parts of this course. We're also going to cover leaky gut, a common condition, and what causes it, how to test for it, and natural ways to correct it. Another common condition you're going to learn how to test for is candida overgrowths, and you're going to discover natural ways to balance that. We're also going to cover how to test and correct for parasites. You'll learn how to use nutritional test kits, which I find invaluable. We're also going to cover how to test for heavy metals and natural approaches to eliminate them from the body. You'll learn about the immune system and autoimmune conditions, and you'll also discover natural ways to balance those. In addition, we're going to cover the endocrine system, including the thyroid and adrenal glands, and ways to support them. You're going to also learn how to test and correct food allergies. Many people having that problem. Also, how to help eliminate addictions to foods and other substances. You'll learn a way to find out if other factors, such as emotional stress or imbalances in the structural or energy systems, are affecting the person's biochemical balance. You'll learn how to test for imbalances in the sex hormones and natural ways to bring those into balance. So you see, there's so many things in the course you're going to get. You're going to learn how to put this all together in a session to get substantial results with people to make a big difference in their lives. An extra bonus is you can clear up your own health challenges and increase the quality and length of your own life. Many people find that that's worth the tuition alone. In addition to the video course that you have each week, you're going to have an assignment to help you integrate and learn the skills that you've covered in class. There's also a quiz you will take online that will help you reinforce your learning. So you can see there are so many phenomenal skills that you're going to learn in this program that will just take your practice as well as the quality of your own health to an entirely new level. So I look forward to sharing with you over the next 6 months, and anytime you need assistance, just email us at support@kinesiologyinstitute.com, and we'll look forward to being with you in the future classes. Until then, be well and God bless.